day 4 was when we headed to Halong Bay. And honestly, when I say I was excited, this is such an understatement. We started the day heading to our local coffee shop, which was literally just below our apartment. But I got an egg coffee ready for our minibus trip to the port to be able to get our cruise ship at Halong Bay. We had one coffee stop on the way where we saw lots of snacks, including these green tea or like matcha flavour KitKats. I was considering my t-shirt said my matcha era. The temptation was real. I had a coconut coffee when we got to the port, and this was just my journey of basically wanting to try every Vietnamese coffee available. This coconut coffee is basically hot coffee with coconut ice cream on top, almost like a float. Highly recommend trying it if you're going to Vietnam anytime soon. And if you're a coffee lover, try them all. Have the Vietnamese coffee with condensed milk, have the egg coffee, have the coconut coffee, because they're all so different and all so tasty. After we walked to the port, we had like a little boat that took us to the cruise ship just because it's so busy. Once we got to our boat, we quickly moved out of Halong Bay. So for reference, Halong Bay refers to the entire bay, where there's different areas of the bay, but there's Little Halong Bay, which is where a lot of people and a lot of cruises tend to go, so it's quite saturated there. But the cruise ship that we chose ended up going to an area called Bai Tu Long Bay, and it was stunning. It was definitely less people. The only boats that were there were the ones within that charter, so the same company, if that makes sense. We explored around the boat for a very little amount of time. The first thing we had to do was do the brief, where they talk about safety tips, all the activities that we're going to be doing, and also having lunch. So we got our room keys, and the room was stunning, like so much better than I thought it was gonna be. I don't know if I just had low expectations, but I've never been on a cruise before, and I just thought, we're on a boat, let's not have too high expectations. But it was better than some of the hotels I've stayed in. We had this giant window that showed the sea. You were literally on sea level because we were on the bottom floor, and it had like this gorgeous ensuite and this like jet bath where you could also look out at the water. It was just incredible. After sort of freshening up a bit, we had our first activity of our trip, which was heading to one of the local islands for a hike and exploring a cave on that island. And then we headed to the beach on the island, which was so pretty. I felt like I didn't capture it as much as I should have. Then after that, we ended up going kayaking, which the kayaking was so incredible. A lot of times that I wanted to capture content, so I would film stuff, and poor Sam, was paddling away, to keep us moving along. We even got to go in this weird little cave thing that we came across, which was so cute. There were also a couple of dogs that we saw as well while we were waiting. Once we headed back to the boat, we were, if I'm honest, very tired. But we had a cooking demonstration of how to make these fried pancakes, and they were so tasty. Me and Sam got one each and split them. We got the chicken and the seafood one. After that, you could relax, so we ended up going on the deck and just enjoying the views before heading back down and relaxing in the room for a bit just before dinner. Dinner was amazing. Again, there was like so many courses, but it was so good. And on this day was actually Sam's birthday, so they sung happy birthday, which I didn't expect them to do, but they made such a big thing of it, and there were a couple other people celebrating birthdays and anniversaries on the boat, so they each got given a cake. This cake was so delicious. We would have eaten it to ourselves if they hadn't have put about 10 plates next to us with forks, that then it felt bad that if you didn't cut it up and give it to the other people that were on the cruise ship. To finish the night, it was pretty late by this point, it was almost 10. We ended up doing squid fishing. Now, this isn't something that I would normally have done, but I am very much one of those people that, because with this cruise ship was 3 days and 2 nights, I wanted to do as much of the activities as possible. Unfortunately, we didn't catch any squid, but that was our 4th day in Vietnam and our 1st day in Halong Bay, and it was honestly amazing. Also, highly recommend this cruise ship because they were so lovely. They personally got to know you, and Halong Bay was so beautiful. It was like nothing that I've ever seen before. A lot of the photos that I took, I didn't even need to edit. It was just that amazing. So highly recommend. Yes, the hype is real, but maybe try some of the cruise ships that go along the different bays that aren't as saturated as Halong Bay itself. Also, make sure to subscribe to see more of my Vietnam content.